Hey guys, and welcome back to Max Electronics. In today's video we got the decks on the desk, the desk on the decks, the decks on the desk. Anyway, so we've got the Denon DJ MCX8000 that's got a few problems here. So first of all, the Q button, the play button on the first deck doesn't really work. It works, but if I hit it, nothing happens. Oh, there we go, now it worked. And nothing, but if you really hit it, it works. The second problem we're having is with the fader, and apparently this is actually a common problem with all the Denons, no matter how expensive it is. Even the SC6000 have that problem with the buttons, and the mixers, the expensive one, have the same problem with the faders. When it goes all the way up, just before it hits up, it's fine, but then it starts muting one or the other channel. So it's kind of deeps down and up, and as you wiggle it, it goes up and down. And the third problem is we have the screens. They're not set to full brightness at the moment. So if I go to the utility and I set a display brightness to maximum, well, now it works, but it usually has this rolling shutter effect that is just keeps rolling through. So that's a bad connection on the LCD panel. So we have to open it up and have a look. It doesn't really fit on my desk, as you can see. So we've got three problems that we're going to address and have a look what's inside, what it's like, what it's built of. Definitely see what's wrong with the faders. And yeah, the other problem I've had with this one is getting the database. The software is a nightmare. You have to get the version 1.3.3 to get the playlists to work, or crates as you call them. So if I go back and we go here, usually you can just plug in a USB and you go untitled, you go to the folder, you won't be able to select any playlists, and you go to the agent library, music, and there you'll have all your artists that you can select manually through folders. And this one is not even working for some reason. It's a nightmare. To get the playlists to work, you have to download that software, you have to load it to USB, drag the playlist to USB, and then you have to click export to MCX8000. It starts exporting, then the software crashes, you have to restart it, and it's a nightmare. So I would not recommend getting this deck. But yeah, there is a few screws. I've tried removing one, I've tried this one, and I've tried this one. It looks, to be honest, like they are actually for aesthetics only. So if I remove that screw, it doesn't look like it's holding anything at all. So if you have a look really up close, it just sits there in a plastic. It doesn't look like it's actually holding anything together. So maybe there are screws down the bottom. So I'll try to undo these screws just for one deck and see if that whole thing comes off or what happens. So let me get all the screws out, and if that doesn't work, we'll see what those screws are doing there, and then we'll flip it upside down and pull it apart from the back side. I have removed the panels, and as I expected, there's just the panels that were held by these screws and the crossfader. So that's out, there it is. At least that's replaceable. The rest I'm probably gonna tackle from behind, so I'm gonna flip it over. By the way, I have a feeling I might have to undo all those nuts that are not all there, by the way. So you got through one. No, I guess it's fine, it's holding there, but not all nuts are in there. So I've got a feeling that I have to remove all of those. So displace, I thought that there's screws there, as you can see on this one, just around the perimeter, that you can unscrew it and pull it out, but no, it's loose, but something's holding it behind there. So I'm going to flip it over and we'll check the other side. I have removed another million screws and pried this open slightly, and let's have a look what's happening inside. I know there's something here that's holding it. So hang on, there's two wires that I will disconnect. It looks like transistors or voltage regulators. I think that's it, yes. Oh, a bit of a dirt. Yeah, that would be two voltage regulators here, or two transistors, I assume. And we have, wow, that's a lot. So, looks like there's a lot to pull apart just to get to those faders. I assume that we will have to take that board, that's the main board, off and go from there. So I'm going to take that off and unscrew another million screws from the back, and we'll check this board out. I've decided not to bore you with getting all the stuff out of here, because there's a lot of millions and millions of screws and everything, but once it's unscrewed, so you've got the mixer board here, you've got the exactly reflection of this on this side here, and that main board on the side. So what I'm going to do is get this one done, and then before I put it all together and before we replace the switches, I will show you what to do. We're going to go through the boards and I'll show you each single board. By the way, I've taken the platter off here just so you can have a look what it does. I've lost it. There it is. So there is a platter, and this top is metallic. It connects electrically to this metal pole, and you can see the teeth. So it's a strobe light that is on the main board that we will see in a second. I'll show you now. You can see right here's 2 optos, and that's where the platter spins, and it goes through there and strobes through, so that's how it knows how fast the platter is turning. So that goes into here, and that wire connects electrically to that, so that's your sensor, literally just a one contact. That's all there is to it. There was a lot of dust in it too, so I've pulled it out. So what I'm going to do now is put this one back in there and clear the desk and put all the boards on the desk, and we'll see what we need to do to fix the fader and the buttons. So here is the board, and here is our 2 faulty buttons. Well, it's actually just one that is faulty, but I'm going to replace both of them. I've got the buttons ready right here. Those are standard tactile switches. You can search for them on eBay or AliExpress. They can be in round shape. I've got the round ones here. You can find them in a square shape. They're really standard ones, and they usually in your TVs and VCRs, DVD players. They usually use those type, and they're 5mm. So I'm going to desolder those buttons. I'm going to replace 2. This one still works, but they probably still doesn't have much life left in it, so best to replace both of them while we're at it. So I'm simply going to heat the contacts, add some fresh solder, and we're going to pull it out as we're hitting one pad, and pull on this side and then the other side, and here it comes right here. So I'm going to remove the second one as well. And I'm going to add new ones in and then tap with a fresh solder. So just insert it in the holes. You can clean this up if you have a desoldering gun. I'm not going to bother with just 2 contacts. It's just easier to push it through. There's one. And there is the other. Those buttons are actually the same as Pioneers. That's where I got those ones. They're not new, they're second hand, and they're from Pioneer, and I know for a fact they're really good condition. So there we go, and now I'm going to use the fresh solder and just tap those contacts. And if you do have some solder splattered on there, usually I use lacquer thinner, my favorite thing, to clean the circuit boards. And just clean up all the leftover flux and leftover solder. That's it. So that should be fixed now. I've also replaced LEDs, a couple of LEDs that I didn't like. So one of them was this green one for the center, when the pitch control is in the center, it lights up green. It was really vivid, bright green, not really pleasant color, so I've put the standard one, standard green, the color. And I've also replaced these 2 LEDs from white to orange. That's going to be more of kind of Pioneer look with a green play and orange Q. You can find the video up in this link right here in the corner, so you can change the colors of your decks. So that's it here. The only thing that I've left to do is I'm going to use the cleaning spray, contact cleaner, and I'm going to spray it inside the fader. If I get the straw onto it, there we go. and work the fader for a little bit. So it's a clean and lube just to clean all those contacts. And that side is now ready, so I'm going to do exactly the same thing to the other side, and then we'll switch to the actual mixing unit. Here is the main mixer board. The other boards have been done. So we've got problem with this fader, which I am going to mark probably on the fader itself, just so we know which one it is. But I'm going to change all of them. Well, not change, I'm going to repair all of them. I'll show you how to do it. If you're interested, I've got a video right here. If you click on that little link, that'll take you off one of the video switches that I did that involved motorized faders, and we redone them too and tested them on a curve tracer. We're going to do the same with this one. So I'm going to take some time and remove all of those 4 faders, and then we'll have a closer look at this one specifically. Here is the faulty fader, and I'm going to remove it from its enclosure first. It's held by 2 screws that are easily removed. Again, you can buy a replacement fader if you have the problem where it's either glitching out as you're fading in, or if it's all the way, say, up in this case, and it cuts out and you have to dim it, well, bring it back down a bit to get the full volume control. It can be fixed, or you can replace the whole fader. In our case, we will be fixing it. So before we do, let's have a look what's happening to the fader. I've got a curve tracer hooked up right here. So I'm going to hook it up to the lines and see what it shows us. Oh. So here's the fader, and as you can see, as I'm going all the way to the end, do you see that glitching on there? Right there as I move it around. So as we go this end, it seems fine, but this end, it glitches quite badly. Let's try another channel. I believe it would be not this one, so I think it's this one. Oh yeah, you saw that flash. As I'm touching it, you see it's flickering around. Well, at some stage it shows capacitance. Yeah. So this is not good. So we're going to fix that. Let's open it up first. I usually use pliers, and you just pry those things carefully outwards. You can have 2 of them. Some faders have 8, well, 4 or 8. This one's got 8 of them. So we'll pry them open. I think they're all pried open, and then what you do, you want to position the fader in the center, and then use something from the edges to open this up just like that. The reason why we want to do it from the edges and put this in the center or semi-center is because it's got very sensitive brushes that can be damaged easily by simply touching them. Then we're going to grab the fader and separate it just like that. So here we got quite a bit of corrosion here too. See the green stuff there? So we're going to clean this all off. It's probably the drink's been spilled. Now we're going to take this out very carefully, and see those tiny brushes on the end? They are extremely sensitive. We can see lots of dust there. If you touch them with something other way than down force slightly, you will bend them out of place, or in some cases you will even break them. They're that sensitive. So what I'm going to do is start with the brushes. Now I'm going to, those faders, they not very easily flickable. They have some resistance, so I don't like that usually in the mixes. You want them to be very easily sliding. So I'm going to remove this part, which gives it a bit of tension. That's going to get cleaned as well. You can see how much carbon buildup we have there. And then using the spray, which is electrical lube and cleaner, I'm going to spray that. So try to get all the dust off first by just the jets of the spray. And then I'm going to grab a cotton bud. I'm going to soak the cotton bud in a contact cleaner. And then gently, you want to very carefully, usually I do it in front of my face, it's really hard to do it, you just want to brush slightly, very, very carefully, those brushes. You can see this slight black, I don't know if it's a bit overexposed, but there is a black stuff coming off them. So very gently, you don't want to mess up, and if you brush it the other way, you're going to bend it, and that's your fader done. I'm also going to remove the old grease from the sides. And clean this part here too. With the other faders, since they didn't have any fold in them, I've just sprayed that cleaning solution straight in there and worked them up and down just to clean them. So that's it for the brushes. I'm going to carefully put them aside. Now I'm going to clean this stuff up as well. There's some sort of hairs inside there. So that's clean, and now this one. And I'm going to put this back onto the brushes so we don't forget it. And put that whole assembly aside. Now I'm going to clean this part as well. So there's a lot of stuff in there. That's black. That should not be black, it should be silver. So again, you can see how that's removing all the stuff. And yes, it is removing the lube that was previously there, because we will be replacing that lube with something that is really frictionless, if you would. So we'll clean all this up. Alright, there we go. Now it's not black anymore. Put this aside. And then we'll clean our carbon tracks. Now you don't want to really rub that, because that's a carbon there and it will easily wipe off. So what I'm going to do, again, using a pressure spray, I'm going to spray that. And then I'm going to give it a wipe, probably with this. Again, that's carbon brushing off. So you don't want to do that too often. You just want to go maybe once one way and one the other way. And then again, soak it with the cleaner and leave that cleaner in there. That cleaner will dry off very fast, and while that's drying off, we're going to be, so that green wasn't the corrosion, that was PCB lacquer by the look of it. Yeah, that's definitely PCB lacquer. So that's been cleaned. Now while that's drying up, I'm going to quickly wipe this. It's got some oil residue on it. And the next step, we're going to take this and I'm going to grab the oil which is designed for lubricating clippers. So that's a clipper oil. And I'm going just to put on the sides. And on this side, inner corners. So you can see that in there. Maybe a little more. And then we're going to put our brushes back in there. And then we're going to work that out around. So we're going to go up and down to make sure the oil spreads everywhere. And I can feel the resistance is a lot less now. and we can start assembling the unit. So it does have the right way around, so we can see that the smaller track, smaller brush here, and smaller tracks on this side, so we're going to put it that way. If it doesn't fit, you just need to flip, there we go, you just need to flip this upside, that knob upside down, and it'll fit. So that's it. Now I'm going to clip the middle ones on this side. And then the rest of them. Alright, now I'm going to clean that off a bit, so that's all got covered in lube. And then I'm going to spray more contact cleaner in the track and just work it around. That's it. Clean the top again. And cover it the way it was, put the screws in, and then we'll test it on the curve tracer. Alright, so we're back to curve tracer. So I'm going to hook up to this once. That's the signal one. And then positive negative down the bottom, so we're going to go for that. Alright, so we're going to have signal, and look at that. I'm moving it around and there is no problem at all. Very smooth. Yeah. So that's fixed now, as you can see on a curve tracer. So that's how you rebuild the fader and fix all the problems. You can have in analog systems, again, this one doesn't use the, it's a bit of a paper towel stuck in here. In analog systems where it uses to push audio through it, if it's faulty and you're doing this, you can hit crackles. And of course you can use just spray contact cleaner to clean it, or pull it apart and refurb it like we just did. Or in this case, it is just a trim pot, so it connects one side of the track to 5 volts, the other to ground, and the middle track it uses as a sensor, and it sees the voltage difference. That's it. Alright, I've got decks back together. They're looking nice because I've cleaned them up. I'm feeding 1 kilohertz signal from the signal generator, and we're looking at the scope. So let's slowly bring that fader up, and you can see the signals coming in nice and clean. And if I wiggle it around, there is no more problems. It is, yeah, really nice and smooth. That's on which channel? On the right channel. So I'm going to plug in the left channel now. Just switch the jack. And let's see if we're going to get the same. So now it's on the left. And nice and clean. Again, no wobbles. Do it slowly. You can see. Yeah. Absolutely fine. So that's fixed. Also, let me show you the cue buttons. So I'm going to switch now from the function generator to the decks. So we'll go there and there. I'll let it load. Unplug the scope so it's not on the way. So I'm going to turn the light off just so you can see better. There we go. So I'm going to select something. And let's see if the buttons are working fine. As you can see, the cue is orange now, not white. And play works just fine as well. But then again, that's a working deck, so we'll go to another one. And we'll load something here. And again, Q is working just fine, and play is working just fine as well. The screens are both full brightness. I've just re-plugged the cable. I've unplugged it and plugged it back in, and that was that. I've also put instead of the blue buttons here, I've put the orange ones, so now they all match instead of having, you know, orange, blue, blue, orange, which doesn't make any sense. I've put the vinyl blue as well instead of orange. Well, it's more violet blue, but it's actually pretty cool. It's ghostly. Camera is not capturing it as well, but it's almost UV when it's off, and it's blue when it's on. So that's an addition, and yeah, that's about it. And that's the point is that I was talking about. See the nice green color? Before it was actually same as that. It was very bright, and it was bright green color. So that's heaps better now. That's it. That's how you fix your decks. Well, fix your mixer or your buttons if you have failed buttons. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. This is the last video this year, and just wanted to wish everyone Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I will see you back in 2024. Bye.